Welcome to the Raw Feed. I'm Gary Franchi, and what sets us apart from every other show is simple. We don't just talk at you, we talk with you. Your comments, your reactions, your voice matters here. We're going to be reading the live chat as we speak, getting your real-time reactions to the biggest stories shaking America today. Now, as you're watching on YouTube, we're also streaming to millions worldwide there, but we're also live on Rumble and X, so make sure you're following us on all platforms because big tech censorship is real and we need backup plans. So share the stream right now, text it to your friends, bypass the algorithm completely. For our X viewers, repost the show to your followers. Let's break their information blockade together. Now listen up. We will be featuring your super chats and Rumble rants between segments, putting them on screen for the world to see. So send them in right now, even before we dive into the very first story. This is your chance to be part of the show, not just watch it. Now, if you want to support this show without the spotlight, you can hit those donation links in the description. We are viewer-funded, no corporate overlords telling us what we can't say, so visit Give, Send, Go, or PayPal, link below. Every dollar keeps us on the air. And if you want to show off your favorite news source wherever you go, check out our merch shop at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. We've got Alligator Alcatraz shirts that'll start conversations, President Auto Pen designs that trigger the left, and our American Badass series that says it all without saying a word. Links in the description, so gear up and represent. Plus, you can join our YouTube channel memberships. Each level unlocks different perks. Get special acknowledgement in the chat room, where everybody sees you're a supporter. Unlock exclusive access to the Next News team with behind-the-scenes uploads you won't see anywhere else, and get into our members-only Discord for 24/7 uncensored chat with patriots who get it. So click join underneath the channel and choose your level. This is where mainstream media narratives come to die. This is where truth meets power. This is where you become part of the resistance against their propaganda machine. Now, today is August 18th, and on this date in 1920, the 19th Amendment was ratified, giving women the right to vote. It was a moment when America expanded freedom despite massive resistance from the establishment. Sound familiar? Well, today we're watching another establishment, the war machine, the sanctuary state cartel, the woke corporations desperately fighting to stop the expansion of peace and truth. Just like 1920, the people are winning. Now, we got 5 explosive topics that'll make your blood boil and your hope soar. Trump just pulled off what Biden couldn't even imagine, meeting Putin in Alaska, then hosting Zelensky in Washington. An illegal alien with the California CDL just murdered 3 Americans in Florida. The Epstein investigation has begun with Bill Barr testifying while Mueller suddenly can't remember anything. Gavin Newsom's sanctuary state blood trail is exposed, and Disney's woke collapse has them desperately exploiting Jamie Lee Curtis' sex symbol past. We're about to expose how Trump is ending wars while the media lies, how sanctuary states are killing Americans while politicians play games, and how the swamp is panicking as their darkest secrets come to light. From the White House to your house, from Alaska to Florida, from Hollywood to Washington, we're connecting all the dots that they don't want connected. So buckle up, Raw Feed family. The next few hours will change everything you thought you knew. So let's get into it and welcome you to the show. We got Colin here. We got Daniel, Jamie, Karen, Brand47. We got Vaughn, Looney, Rooney. Flavio is here. Jocelyn is here. Patriots Unite. Scontech is here. We got Cindy and Chino Jr., Tyson, Pothead Kenny, what's up? Who else is in the house tonight? Let's keep looking through the list of everybody who's here. Miss Pothead Kenny is here. Let's see, we've got Scooby Dragon, Sweet Jenna Rainbows is in the house as well. Michael Jones, Julia Gunels is here. Let's see, we've also got Rachel White in Kentucky. What's up? Smarty Pants is here too. We got Michael Verastro in Pennsylvania. We got Kaiser Willie, Anita Garcia, Robin Wall, Jeanette Johnson. The devil is a Democrat. We got Archie Bunker in the house from Erie. We got Dennis Anderson, James Snowden. Who else is here? Kim Weig is in the house. Ralph Moody is here. Jericho in the house. Deb Noble is here. We got Elaine Miller, Susan Kay. Roger watching from Grand Rapids. What's up, Roger? We got Darlene, Looney Rooney, David Vaughn, Hairball, Mean like a Wolverine is here. Sure You in the house. What's up, Sure You? We got Karen and Rachel. Who else is here? Michael and GTG6607. David Roach. Get Waxed for 20 is here. Deborah Larson. Pryor 8T2000. Callie Patriot in the house. Gail 888. Who else is here? Johnny Rodriguez and Steve and Mimi, Nate and Jess. The gang is all here tonight. So thank you all for joining me. And make sure you send this link to your friends via text message. Very important. I know I say it at the beginning of every show, but it is very important that we do so because we need to bypass every means that they are using to suppress our message. And the only weapon that we actually have that is the most effective is you. So you're part of this. Remember that. Let's get into our first topic. A lot happening on the Russia-Ukraine front. We got a lot of reaction leading up to what happened today. But first, we're going to get to our trivia question. In 1867, the U.S. bought Alaska from Russia. So the question is, how much? Was it $7.2 million? That's A. Or B, 3 vodka distilleries. C, 50 polar bears. Or D, a used submarine. All right, you guys can go ahead and weigh into the chat, in the poll, or in the comments below. But first, we're going to get into what they don't want you to know. The war machine just got the shock of their lives. While they counted their blood money from endless conflict, something happened in Alaska that sent them into full panic mode. The meeting they said would never happen did. The conversation they swore was impossible took place, and now the entire house of cards they built on Ukrainian graves is collapsing. Even their own media puppets are admitting what we've known all along. The old way is dead. So what you're about to see will expose why Washington is terrified and why peace might actually have a chance. The truth is way more explosive than they want you to know. So stay locked in. Now, if you're getting close to retirement or just thinking ahead, you've probably done a solid job of saving. But here is something most people don't consider. How much of that money is just sitting in cash? It might feel safe, but holding too much cash guarantees one thing. You're losing purchasing power. Inflation eats away at it, and the dollar's value keeps slipping. That's why more people are looking at real assets like physical gold and silver to protect their savings. And one company makes it easy. Noble Gold Investments. You can buy gold or silver, coins or bars, and have them shipped to your home directly or stored securely. It's a smart way to convert cash into something that actually holds value. Now, Noble Gold, they're fair, transparent, and they don't pressure you. Just solid information and real options. Visit nextnewsgold.com. You'll find it linked down below, or call the number on the screen, 877-646-5347, and tell Colin I said hello. So we got a lot to break down here. And why not just start out at the top? Eric swallows well. This is his takeaway from the Trump-Putin peace meeting. He says he doesn't know if Trump is or is not a Russian asset. Can you believe that? They're still playing that game. Swalwell is still trying to parrot that narrative, even though it's been debunked and discredited, much like his entire life. Listen to this.
United States, particularly. Well, if you're Europe, you're quite worried now because you just saw the president of the United States achieve 0, and they will have to ask themselves what more are they willing to do, knowing that they too could be thrown under the bus if Russia ever moved farther west. But as far as objectives, I was hoping to hear that there would be a trilateral meeting. That didn't come out of this. I was hoping to hear there'd be a ceasefire. That didn't come out of this. And I was hoping to at least hear about the territory that would be proposed or exchanged by both sides. That didn't come out of this. Look, Alicia, I don't know.
No, look, Eric. You know why you didn't hear anything? Is because Trump is not telegraphing every move he makes. Okay, it was a meeting between two world leaders, all right? And you are just a failed congressman with a spy problem, okay, who farts on television during an MSNBC interview. All right. So if you feel like you've been dissed because you didn't hear the full story, it's because it's above your freaking pay grade, buddy.
If Donald Trump is or is not a Russian asset. I do know that at press conferences like this and like at Helsinki, He certainly acts like one, and that is cold comfort for anyone in the United States, particularly in our military, that the commander-in-chief would be so flattering of and so charming to a ruthless dictator like Vladimir Putin.
So charming to a ruthless dictator. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, showing a fellow world leader respect on the world stage is pretty standard operating procedure. Here we have Joe Scarborough, just a few hours ago, dropping a truth bomb about ending the war in Ukraine that the media will hate. Vigilant Fox writes, he called out the Wall Street Journal directly. Joe Scarborough.
To be realistic. By the way, let's underline two things here. Just again, to set expectations. To be realistic. Even during the Biden administration, every Biden official, including the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, says they're going to have to give a plan. They're not going to like giving a plan, but they're going to have to give a plan, number one. Number two, they're not going to become members of NATO. There may have been people writing articles in the Wall Street Journal or elsewhere saying they have to be members of NATO, but you go around to every European leader, that was never going to happen, but there was an idea of a quasi-NATO.
Okay, so first off, I was at the NATO summit, all right? I heard the Secretary General of NATO with my own ears. He said that Ukraine would move into NATO. He said it's basically a foregone conclusion. All right, I was on the ground in The Hague when they said this. So I'm not sure what he's talking about here. Yeah, I mean, Wall Street Journal, people talking about, it not going to happen, but I heard it.
Around to every European leader, that was never going to happen, but there was an idea of a quasi-NATO type guarantee. And they need that guarantee. And if they get that guarantee, if they have the guarantee that Putin's not going to reload and then come back in, that would be considered, I think, at the end, a win for Ukraine, would it not? By the way, let's underline two things.
And first of all, let's underline another thing. The reason this whole thing started is because of NATO aggression. All right? Listen, I'm all about peace. But when you have an international military organization that is on your border and everyone's talking about having Ukraine join, you might not like it. And that's exactly why Putin was so pissed. Looks like we got some video of Jasmine Crockett calling on President Trump to grow a spine and stop being Putin's hoe. Well, I just want to know whose hoe she is, actually.
If you could tell Donald Trump anything tonight, what would you tell him?
I would tell him to grow a spine and stop being Putin's hoe.
If you could tell Donald Trump.
I think Trump has more of a spine than you ever will, Jasmine. And hopefully you get redistricted out of Congress. That would be a beautiful thing to see. Marco Rubio smacking down MSNBC or NBC's Kristen Welker attempting a gotcha question by playing a clip from 2022. Rubio saying Putin's a professional liar who can't make any deals, but her attempt fails miserably. Let's check this out.
Terry, I want to play something you said about President Putin. This was right after the invasion in March of 2022. Take a look.
This guy lies, habitually lies. He's never kept a deal they've ever signed, and he lies all the time. And I don't know why, but he plays us like a violin in the West, because the West wants to believe that you can cut a deal with everybody. You can't cut a deal with guys like this. He's a professional, experienced liar.
Mr. Secretary, given that, what makes you think that if you are able to reach a deal with President Putin, that he would stick to it, based on, as you just said, he's a liar?
Well, that's the point. That's why the deal has to have enforceable mechanisms in it. That's why the deal has to have things like security guarantees. That's the point I was making a few minutes ago when you were asking me about looking someone in the eye. What's important here is actions, not words, not paper, document. Those are all important. Those are elements of a deal, but they have to be enforceable. They have to be verifiable. They have to be enduring. There's no point here in signing a deal that's going to be violated in 3 or 4 months. There's no point in doing that. It actually would make things worse. So that's why this is such a difficult thing. Not only do you need a deal, you need a deal that's verifiable, that's enforceable, and that's enduring. If you don't achieve that, then I think you could have a ceasefire for a few months, a few weeks, and then the war will start again and more people will die. That's not the outcome we're interested in. That's not the outcome anyone wants. So that's why this is so difficult.
All right. Secretary of State Marco Rubio.
That one fell flat. Nice try, Kristen Welker. And man, she played that clip trying to haunt him with words of his past, and boom, he smacked her down cold. The First Lady, Melania Trump, has issued a peace letter stating that it is time. She posted this, and Fox News covered it. It says here that she wrote a peace letter. Come on now. Come on. What's all these ads? What is it? Come on. There it is. First Lady Melania Trump wrote a peace letter to Russian President Vladimir Putin telling him it's time to protect children and future generations around the globe. I think she's perfectly right. Here's more from Secretary Rubio.
They're facing well, first of all, the Russians are already facing very severe consequences. There's not a single sanction that's been lifted. And not one. I mean, they're facing all the same sanctions that have been in place today. All the American support continues for Ukraine. And ultimately, look, if we're not going to be able to reach an agreement here at any point, then there are going to be consequences. Not only the consequences of the war continuing, but the consequences of all those sanctions continuing and potentially new sanctions on top of it as well. But what we're trying to do right now is end the war. And in order to end a war, you've got to give every opportunity that exists. You have to be open to any opportunity that exists to bring it about. And here's the thing to remind everybody, and when the president says this is not our war, but let's be frank, this is not our war. The United States is not in a war. Ukraine is in a war, and we've been supporting Ukraine. We happen to be in the role of the only country in the world, with the only leader in the world, that can actually bring Putin to a table to even discuss these things. Now, the president has traveled, all the way to Alaska, all the way back, has dedicated months and months of work, him, our entire team on this matter, because we want to see an end to the war. But if tomorrow the war continues, life in America will not be fundamentally altered. So I think that what we have to understand is that this has been a priority for this president because he wants to promote peace. He wants to promote the end of a war. And I think we should be happy that we have a president that's trying to promote peace and bring a war to an end. Well, first of all...
Yeah, that's what we need. We need peace. Here's more with Marco Rubio on the media circuit.
Can you name any concessions that Vladimir Putin made during?
Is that the Crypt Keeper?
This meeting? Have any
I wouldn't name him on your program.
Have any concessions
I wouldn't name
been
him
asked?
on your program. Why would I do that?
Where is the pressure?
Of course, because you can't have a peace agreement. No, you can't have a peace agreement unless both sides give and get.
Did you hear what he just said? She asked, what were the terms? I'm not going to talk about them, he says. Just like Swalwell at the beginning. He's like, I didn't hear anything. Because they're not going to talk about it. They're not going to telegraph these things.
Because you can't have a peace agreement. No, you can't have a peace agreement unless both sides give and get. You can't have a peace agreement unless both sides make concessions. That's a fact. That's true in virtually any negotiation. If not, it's just called surrender. And neither side is going to surrender. So both sides are going to have to make concessions. So, of course, concessions were asked. But what utility would there be of me going on a program and tell you we wagged our finger at Putin and told him you must do this and you must do that? It's only going to make it harder and less likely that they're going to agree to these things. So these negotiations, as much as everyone would love it to be a live pay-per-view event, these discussions only work best when they are conducted privately in serious negotiations in which people who have to go back and respond to constituencies, because even totalitarian governments have constituencies they have to respond to, people have to go back and defend these agreements that they make. And so, and figure out a way to explain them to people. So we need to create space for concessions.
Oh, wow. Eric Swalwell getting schooled. again, just in that response, I mean, whatever. Let's keep going. We got some more. Here is Steve Witkoff talking about the mediation.
How they might. We were in the room, Shannon, as a mediator, and the president, as a mediator, was looking for ways to solve the crisis. He understands that it is for the Ukrainians to decide how they might land swap, how they might make a deal with the Russians on different territories there. But that's why Zelensky and the Europeans are coming to the White House on Monday to make those decisions themselves.
Big decisions were made in the White House today. We're going to get some of that in another segment, so keep your eyes open for that. Here's Senator Eric Schmidt about the people who are most critical of the president's pursuit of peace.
You're trying to get. I look at this from a realistic point of view. The diplomacy that President Trump is engaging in, which has been very successful since he took office, is about engaging people that, maybe aren't your best friends in the world, but you're trying to get to a peace deal. That's exactly what this was. And I would also point out, it's going to take time. So that meeting led to the next meeting, which is going to happen on Monday, which will likely lead to the next meeting. That's how that typically works. I think for some people so used to the 24-hour news cycle, maybe that isn't fast enough, but that's how the real world works. And I would also point out that the people who are most critical have been wrong for the last 30 years about every single foreign policy issue under the sun. I mean, you just had Jake Sullivan on. Jake Sullivan just presided over, in the last 4 years, the disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan, the invasion of Ukraine by Russia that he's not critical about President Trump on, and also, by the way, on October 2nd, 2023, he talked about the Middle East being as quiet as it's been in decades, and we know what happened just 5 years later. So these Wilsonian adventurers who think America can be everywhere all at once all the time have been wrong about everything. President Trump is engaging Russia. He's bringing the two parties together to get to peace. That has always been his North Star, and I have full confidence that President Trump is going to do everything he can to facilitate that. I look at this.
And that does not make him Vladimir Putin's hoe, by the way. Let's keep going here. ABC, Rubio, nuking ABC for asking about the red carpet for Putin.
President Trump's critics of President Trump will say the pomp and circumstance, the red carpet, the warm handshake, that President Trump simply lost that Putin gained there just by being on the world stage and walking down a red carpet with the president. Your reaction to that?
Well, your reaction to that, Secretary Rubio? Let me guess. Just showing respect to another world leader. Standard protocol. What do you want to do? Walk up and slap him across the face? Say you're my bitch? I mean, what do you want him to do? All right. Let's hear Rubio.
I mean, critics of President Trump are always going to find something to criticize. You don't even pay attention to it anymore. But I will tell you this. Putin is already on the world stage. He's already on the world stage. The guy's conducting a full-scale war in Ukraine. He's already on the world stage. He has the world's largest tactical nuclear arsenal in the world and the second largest strategic nuclear arsenal in the world. He's already on the world stage. When I hear people say that, it elevates him. Well, all we do is talk about Putin all the time. All the media's done is talk about Putin all the time for the last 4 or 5 years. That doesn't mean he's right about the war. That doesn't mean he's justified about the war. Put all that aside. It means you're not going to have a peace agreement between Russia and Ukraine. You're not going to end a war between Russia and Ukraine without dealing with Putin. That's just common sense. I shouldn't even have to say it. So people can say whatever they want. Ultimately, at the end of the day, we have to get the Russian side to agree to things that they don't want to agree to if we're going to have peace. If not, there'll just be a war. They'll keep killing each other. And life will go on in America and in the rest of the world, but not for Ukraine. So the president has invested a lot of time in trying to bring an end to this war. He deserves credit for doing that. He gets criticism for doing that. He could have just let this war go on. The president could have just said, this is Biden's war. It started under him. We'll do what we can for Ukraine, but we're going to focus on other things. He could have easily said that. But he's the only leader in the world that can get Putin to a meeting to talk about serious things.
And of course, he also made the campaign promise to end the war. I mean, he did say he was going to try to end it on day one. It's taken a little bit longer than that. Let's check this out. Here's some more from Secretary Rubio. You can't have a deal between two warring factions unless both sides agree to give up something. Similar to what we've already heard him say. Let's see. Oh, okay. This is interesting. Putin not going to meet with Macron. Here's more from Secretary Rubio.
Does he take them? If at some point it becomes clear that both sides are so far apart and so dug in that we're just not near a peace deal, then the president will have a decision to make about how much more time do we invest in it and what actions does he take then. But I want everyone to understand, if this morning the president woke up and said, I'm putting these terrible, strong sanctions on Russia, that's fine. It may make people feel good for a couple hours. But here's what you're basically saying. You're saying talks are over. For the foreseeable future, for the next year or year and a half, there's no more talks because there's no one else in the world that can talk to him. Okay, Putin's not going to meet with Macron. He's not going to meet with the UK. With all due respect to these leaders, none of these leaders are going to be able to bring him to the table and talk to them. There's only one leader in the world that has any chance of bringing these two sides together. If there is a chance, there's only one leader in the world that can do it, and that's President Trump. And you forfeit that role the minute you put additional sanctions on him. We may get to that point, unfortunately, but if we do, it means that peace talks are no longer possible. And that would be very unfortunate because the real world ramifications are that while we're here calling each other names and doing TV interviews about this stuff and all of that in American politics, there are people who today will be injured and killed in the battlefield and in cities, in Ukraine, on the front lines, and even in Russia. Even as we speak, people that have nothing to do with this war are suffering as a result of it. And I think we are very fortunate and blessed and should be thankful to have a president that has made peace and the achievement of peace a priority of his administration. We've seen it in Cambodia and Thailand. We've seen it in India, Pakistan. We've seen it in Rwanda and the DRC. And we're going to continue to pursue any opportunities we can find to bring about peace in the world. If at some point it becomes clear that
Little Marco is on fire. What's up, man? He is just making the rounds. Here he is again, nuking Margaret Brennan.
There is concern from the Europeans that President Zelensky is going to be bullied into signing something away. That's why you have these European leaders coming as backup tomorrow. Can you?
No, it isn't. That's not why they're coming as back. That's not true. But that's not why. That's not true. They're not coming here tomorrow to keep Zelensky from being bullied. They're not coming.
That February Oval Office
coming
meeting
here tomorrow
in front of television cameras where President Zelensky.
Do you know how many meetings we've had since then?
Oh, no, I know. And I was just up in Alaska watching the one with Vladimir Putin where a red carpet rolled out.
No, but with Zelensky, we've had more meetings. We've had one meeting with Putin and like a dozen meetings with Zelensky. But that's not true. They're not coming here tomorrow to keep Zelensky from being bullied. They're coming here tomorrow because we've been working with the Europeans. We talked to them last week. There were meetings in the UK over the previous weekend.
And they said President Trump was going to demand a ceasefire
as early as Thursday. No. But you said that they're coming here tomorrow to keep Zelensky from being bullied. They're not coming here tomorrow. Oh, this is such a stupid media narrative that they're coming here tomorrow because Trump is going to bully Zelensky into a bad deal. We've been working with these people for weeks on this stuff. They're coming here tomorrow because they chose to come here tomorrow. We invited them to come. We invited them to come. The president invited them to come.
But the president told those European leaders last week that he wanted a ceasefire. The president went on television, said he would walk out of the meeting if Vladimir Putin didn't agree with one. He said there would be severe consequences if he didn't agree to one. He said he'd walk out in 2 minutes. He spent 3 hours talking to Vladimir Putin, and he did not get one.
It's because they're negotiating, honey. My goodness. What, 2 minutes? Oh, I got an idea. Oh, hello, Vladimir. Will you agree to a ceasefire right now? You won't? Okay, bye. That's not how it works. Can you believe this? I mean, this is what passes for like a line of questioning. I mean, not even it's an attack. It's an attack on Trump and Rubio right there. These people. They make me laugh.
So there's
because obviously things happened during that meeting. Well, because obviously look, our goal here is not to stage some production for the world to say, oh, how dramatic, he walked out. Our goal here is to have a peace agreement, to end this war, okay? And obviously we felt, and I agreed, that there was enough progress, not a lot of progress, but enough progress made in those talks to allow us to move to the next phase. If not, we wouldn't be having Zelensky flying all the way over here. We wouldn't be having all the Europeans coming all the way over here. Now understand, and take with a grain of salt, I'm not saying we're on the verge of a peace deal, but I am saying that we saw movement, enough movement to justify a follow-up meeting with Zelensky and the Europeans, enough movement for us to dedicate even more time to this. You talk about the sanctions. Look, at the end of the day, if peace is not going to be possible here, and this is just going to continue on as a war, People will continue to die by the thousands. The president has that option to then come in and impose new sanctions. But if he did this now, the moment the president puts those additional sanctions, that's the end of the talks. You've basically locked in at least another year to year and a half of war and death and destruction. We may unfortunately wind up there, but we don't want to wind up there. We want to wind up with a peace deal that ends this war so Ukraine can go on with the rest of their lives and rebuild their country and be assured that this is never going to happen again. That's the goal here. We're going to do everything possible to make that happen if it's doable. It will require both sides to make concessions. It will require both sides to get things they're asking for. That's how these deals are made, whether we like it or not.
You know, there's
Marco Rubio on fire. So keep a lookout for our next report. All the breakdown from the Oval Office visit. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. So this changes everything. For the first time since this bloodbath began, we have a president who forced both sides to the table. Not with more weapons, not with empty threats, but with actual diplomacy that puts human lives above defense contractor profits. The establishment hates this because peace doesn't pay their bills. War does. Dead Ukrainians and Russians mean stock prices soar for Raytheon and Lockheed. But Trump just proved that there is another way. Even Joe Scarborough admitted that Biden's team knew they couldn't win. The Ukrainian people know it too. 70% now want a negotiated peace. So here's my question. Do you trust Trump to end this war where Biden failed? Drop a yes or a no in the comments below. Let's continue the conversation. And while you're at it, show your support for real journalism. Check out our merch shop, link down below. We've got designs that trigger the warmongers and celebrate peace through strength. All right, let's check in with Super Chats before we get to our answer of the day. Looks like we got Robert. Robert dropped $9.99. And what did Robert say? As far as the red carpet treatment, criticizing this by the Democrats, what do you want Trump to do? Flip Putin off when he gets off the plane, yell at him? And I don't get you, liberals, man. That's exactly, Robert. Exactly. That's exact. You heard me say it. I'm like, what do you want me to do? You know, just scream at him? Get off my lawn? Like, what is this? Okay, we got more news to get to, but first we are going to check in. Let's see, Linda and Tyson and Pothead and our Boyd and Susan K. Yes, I trust Trump. Okay, let's see what we have here. The answer to our trivia question of the day. A is $7.2 million, and you guys got it right. Well done. Well done. It was called Seward's Folly until oil was discovered. Yeah. They bought Alaska for $7.2 million. All right, we're going to get into that Trump-Zelensky meeting that just happened. All the details from the Oval Office and more. But first, we're going to get to this next question. What gift did Ukrainian Cossacks famously send to the Turkish Sultan in 1676? Was it A, a strongly worded letter, B, a diplomatic fruit basket, C, a peace treaty written in blood, or D, his ambassador's left shoe? This should be interesting. Jeremy Olson, you're talking about Thailand and Cambodia. I've been tracking that. If you've been following me on my Facebook or on X, we just released a video breaking it all down. One of our associates, Michael Alfaro, was just in Cambodia. He went live from the border of Cambodia and Thailand, and estimates are roughly around 100 million views that he got on that video from in all of South Asia. And not just that, but because of that video, he basically forced Thailand and Cambodia back to the negotiating table. So amazing diplomatic work done by Michael out there. in Cambodia and Thailand, and we have been actively covering his trip. In fact, I was supposed to go to Cambodia with Michael, but that didn't pan out. So, but now the South and North Carolina Cambodian communities actually want to give me some kind of a trophy or an award for finally shedding light on what's happening over there. They want to do that in like early September. I just found out yesterday. So anyway, you can check those videos out on my Facebook or on my X account. And we've even been posting videos. We've been converting them into the Cambodian language and publishing them. And they're going super mega viral on that platform, on Facebook primarily. Hundreds of thousands of views in literally like just a few minutes of publishing. So anyway, let's check out some of the scenes here. Okay. But we have, we did the trivia. Less than 48 hours after Alaska, the impossible became reality at the White House. The man in the T-shirt next to the man in the suit represents more than just a meeting. Well, of course, he didn't actually just wear a T-shirt. He put on a suit today. But it's the collusion. You know what? Let me take that back. This is I'm not sure why it was written like that. Take two. Less than 48 hours after Alaska, the impossible became reality at the White House. The man who would normally wear a T-shirt to the White House, standing next to the man in the suit, it represents more than just a meeting. It's the collision of two worlds, one built on endless war profits, the other on ending the killing. What Trump revealed in that room, in the Oval Office, has sent shockwaves through every defense contractor boardroom in America. The phone calls, the letters, the secret negotiations, it's all coming together in ways the establishment never saw coming. And what Melania Trump did behind the scenes, that's the part that will really blow your mind. This is history in real time, so don't blink. Now, before we dive into today's news, here's a quick word from our sponsor, Hyperbit Technologies, trading under HYPAF on the U.S. market. As President Trump puts the spotlight on crypto and pushes forward policies to keep America ahead in the digital asset race, Hyperbit is charging ahead with next-generation crypto mining technology, expanding on their multi-million-dollar crypto treasury that already includes Bitcoin and Ethereum, and aiming to position itself to benefit from pro-innovation laws and executive orders. This is a complete, diversified company that gives you one-stop exposure to the entire crypto sector without having to pick and choose individual projects. Honestly, I could talk about Hyperbit all day, but Trump's bold pro-crypto stance says it all. So for everything you need to know, check out the link in the description below, www.hyperbit.ca. Now, here is the moment that shocked the world. Yeah, Zelensky in a suit showing up at the White House. Eric Darty writes, President Trump again remarked on Zelensky's attire upon greeting him at the White House. Zelensky appears to say, the best I have in regards to his wardrobe.
The best I have. Ready, face? Step. President Trump, showing your message to the people of Ukraine and the world.
The best I have? You heard him say it, right?
The best I have. Ready, face? Step. President Trump, showing your message to the people of Ukraine and the world leaders gathered here today.
We love them. We love them.
Russia continues attacks in Ukraine, defending Kharkiv.
Thank you very much, everybody.
You know, I want to point out that's the same suit he wore at NATO. I kid. I joke about, the fact that he never wears a suit. And the only reason I take this position is just because I'm so annoyed with how much money we've sent over there. And there's no accountability for it. And all he does is keep coming and asking for more rather than trying to figure out how to achieve peace. Well, of course, he's at the White House now, and that is what is being discussed. Let's check this out. Check this out here. Zelensky's asked if he's prepared to keep sending Ukrainian troops to their death rather than redraw the maps, and he refuses to answer and goes back to platitudes about needing support.
President Zelensky.
Now, of course, the scene is at the Oval Office. This is a impromptu press gaggle or a spray, as they call it. And let's listen.
President Zelensky, are you prepared to keep sending Ukrainian troops to their deaths for another couple years, or are you going to agree to redraw the maps?
Thank you for your question. So, first of all, we live under each day attacks. That today have been a lot of attacks and a lot of wounded people, and the child was dead, small one year and a half. So we need to stop this war, to stop Russia, and we need support American and European partners. And we will do our best for this. So, and I think we show that we are strong people, and we supported the idea of the United States, personally of President Trump, to stop this war, to make a diplomatic way of finishing this war, and we are ready for trilateral, as President said. This is a good signal about trilateral. I think this is very good. Thank you.
At least the discussion is happening. This is a historic photograph taken in the Oval Office during this was posted by the White House, happening now in the Oval Office. Another historic photograph. The globalists wait outside while the Donald negotiates peace. Andrew Pollock posting this just a few hours ago. Look at that. It's like they're all waiting to go see the principal after being naughty, right? That's the visualization I get. Macron and all the world leaders there getting ready to go in. So Brian Glenn of Newsmax, if you recall, was the reporter who asked Zelensky about why he never wears a suit. Well, he's back in the Oval Office and had this opportunity to do a follow-up question.
Yeah, you look, President Zelensky, you look fabulous in that suit.
I said the same thing.
Yeah, you look good.
I said the same thing.
Yeah, looks good.
I said the one that attacked you last time.
Yeah.
See, now I remember that.
Yeah, I apologize to you. You look wonderful. No, my first question for you, President Zelensky.
In the same suit. I changed. You are not.
Maybe yours is much better.
Oh, that's funny, man. Zelensky fired back. You're wearing the same suit. That's hilarious. Yeah, that question certainly caused a lot of stir. Here's the Prime Minister of Italy, Giorgia Meloni's reaction. They say priceless as German Chancellor Merz is lecturing Trump that he needs to go to a ceasefire with Putin instead of a full peace deal. She keeps rolling her eyes. The plan was not to do a ceasefire. Listen.
Meetings work on that, and let's try to put pressure on Russia, because the credibility of these efforts we are undertaking today are depending on at least a ceasefire from the beginning of the serious negotiations from next step on. So I would like to emphasize this aspect and would like to see a ceasefire from the next meeting, which should be a trilateral meeting wherever it takes place.
Well, we're going to let the president go over and talk to the president.
Wow, body language is everything. You see it in her eyes, you see it in her jaw. Every time he says ceasefire, she's like, what? What are you talking about? Rolling her eyes. You can see her jaw get tight. Because she's like, this is not what we talked about. What? Look at it right there. Right there. Look at her. Yep. She's like, yeah, that ain't happening. Let's check in with the Hodge twins asking, don't you find it weird that the media isn't up Trump's ass attacking him 24/7 like they were in his first presidency? Hillary Clinton, they were quote tweeting Hodge twins. Hodge twins were quote tweeting Nick Fuentes. Hillary Clinton and CNN are now pro-Trump. I just can't handle all of this winning. Trump is truly our vengeance. This appears to be from the video where she actually called for Trump to get a Nobel Peace Prize.
Have to be followed through. I actually was encouraged by the events of the last several months. First of all, the NATO commitment by individual member states to increase their defense spending is very welcome. It's something that prior administrations have certainly sought, and I think it's great that we are seeing these commitments that now have to be followed through on.
She's praising Trump's move at NATO. Oh, my goodness. Did I tell you I went to NATO? Yeah, I heard that right there. Oh, my goodness. Hillary Clinton praising Trump for his NATO moves. Hell is frozen over, folks. Or maybe she just doesn't want to go to prison.
The willingness of European countries to support Ukraine, and by doing so, buy American weapons in order to provide them to the Ukrainians. I think all of that is a very good signal that there is beginning to be a better understanding, both by the president and the people around him, as well as by the leaders of our European allies, that there can be common ground amongst us. And the kind of dismissiveness that we saw in the first Trump administration has been replaced by a much more obvious working relationship to the good of European security, transatlantic security, and hopefully Ukrainian security. So I'm actually encouraged. I actually
Are you catching this?
Was encouraged.
Are you catching this? Yes, Hillary is clearly desperate not to go to prison. Here's another shot. President Trump welcoming Zelensky to the White House. And that was the moment that he remarked, "Hey, you look great in that suit. It fits you really good." Zelensky met with Trump, Special Representative Keith Kellogg in Washington, D.C. He's in a T-shirt, no suit today. This was 10 hours ago. Actually, no, this was an older meeting. So, fact check real quick. Readers added context to this video. This is an older meeting. Zelensky did not wear a T-shirt today. Of course, Zelensky getting trolled in Washington. Someone put up this sign, "Wear a suit, bro," and he got the memo. Okay, let's get into some of these negotiations. Here's President Trump speaking with Putin.
I think if we have a try, we just spoke to, I was just telling the president, I just spoke to President Putin indirectly, and we're going to have a phone call right after these meetings today. And we may or may not have a trilat. If we don't have a trilat, then the fighting continues. And if we do, we have a good chance. I think if we have a trilat, there's a good chance of maybe ending it. But he's expecting my call when we're finished with this meeting. We just
so Putin and Trump will have a phone call, or likely already did have that phone call following the meeting. Here's more from President Trump in the Oval.
Over the years, they're great. Well, I know Ukrainian people. I've known many over the years. They're great people. They're smart. They're energetic. They love their country. I mean, they love their country, and we want to get this war ended. That's all I can do. I love the Ukrainian people, but I love all people. I love the Russian people. I love them all. I want to get the war stopped. Well, I know Ukraine.
End the war. Here's more on President Trump.
I don't think you need a ceasefire. You know, if you look at the 6 deals that I settled this year, they were all at war. I didn't do any ceasefires. And I know that it might be good to have, but I can also understand strategically why, well, you know, one country or the other wouldn't want it. You have a ceasefire and they rebuild and rebuild and rebuild, and, you know, maybe they don't want that. But if you look at the 6 deals that we made peace and you know, long-term, long-running wars, I didn't do any ceasefires. Would I like the concept, you know, I like the concept of a ceasefire for one reason, because you'd stop killing people immediately, as opposed to in 2 weeks or 1 week or whatever it takes. But we can work a deal where we're working on a peace deal while they're fighting. They have to fight. I wish they could stop. I'd like them to stop. But strategically, that could be a disadvantage for one side or the other. But all of these deals I made without even the mention of the words ceasefire. I don't think you need a ceasefire.
Let's keep going. I'm not sure what he's referring to there, because I do recall the ceasefire that was initially brokered between Cambodia and Thailand that was specifically a ceasefire. So maybe he's referring to something else. I'm not sure. Here's President Trump on the fake news.
You got Moscow It's an amazing phenomenon. I said that if in the settlement you got Moscow, St. Petersburg, and thousands of miles around them, they would say, I made a bad deal. The level of hatred and animosity is incredible. Not with all. I mean, we have great people up here. We also have terrible people up there that I think are told what to say. But, you know, in solving all of these wars, they don't even write about it. You know, I saw major wars. I saw wars that have been going on for 31, 35, and 37, and a couple of quicker ones. One that was going to go into a full-blown deal very quickly. You know what the one I'm talking about. It was a big one. But they don't even write about that. No matter what I do, no matter what, and you know, this is not anything to do with you. It's probably to your advantage in a certain way. But no matter what I do, no matter what deal I make, from my standpoint, you'll come out good. Maybe President Putin will come out good. But they'll say, Trump was absolutely horrible. It's just that, and I've lived with that for a long time. I've lived with it since just before the first election. I used to get great publicity. Now I get the worst publicity anyone's ever gotten in office, but I won in a landslide, so that people understand. They're the only ones that count, ultimately. But I've also had great reporters. I've had journalists that are very good. But it's very sad when you do the right thing. As an example, they said, because of the fact that Vladimir Putin came to American soil, this was a tremendous defeat for Donald Trump. No, it was really wonderful that he did it. It was a hard thing for him to do, to be honest with you. It was the opposite of what they said, but they said it. Now, if he didn't come, they'd say that was also bad for Trump. You know, there's no way. And there's just a great dishonesty of the press, and I think that's why it's lost its credibility. You know, its credibility is at an all-time low.
And that's why people are turning to Next News Network to get the real truth, not what comes out of corporate boardrooms at CNN. Continuing on. This is the discussion about what the First Lady has been doing, Melania Trump, behind the scenes. First off, we have this. This is the letter that she wrote, the heartfelt letter, the peace letter to Putin, hand-delivered by President Trump in Alaska. In protecting the innocence of these children, you will do more than serve Russia alone. You will serve humanity itself. It's time. This is the letter Melania wrote, and President Trump reacting to it in the Oval.
She has. The First Lady felt very strongly. She's watched the same thing that you watch and that I watch. I see things that you don't get to see, and it's horrible. But when she's got a great love of children, she has a wonderful son that she loves, probably more than anybody, including me. I hate to say it, but she loves her son. She loves children, and she hates to see something like this happening. And that goes for other wars too. I mean, she sees the heartbreak, the parents, the funerals that you see on television. Always funerals. We want to see something other than funerals. No, she felt. It was a beautiful letter. It was very well received by him. And she did ask me to say, you know, she would love to see this end. She would love to see it end. And she says it very openly, very proudly, and with great sorrow, because so many people have been killed. The First Lady felt...
And that's why it all needs to come to an end. And that's what President Trump's working towards right now. Let's continue. We got some more from the Oval Office. There's so much news. It's almost impossible to pack it all into one report, but we're doing our best. Here's more from the president in the Oval Office. Let's see.
But we're going to work with Ukraine. We're going to work with everybody, and we're going to make sure that if there's peace, the peace is going to stay long term. This is very long term. We're not talking about a 2-year peace and then we end up in this mess again. We're going to make sure that everything's good. We'll work with Russia. We're going to work with Ukraine, and we're going to make sure it works. And I think if we can get to peace, it's going to work. I have no doubt about it. But we're going to work with...
Just watching this moment, thinking and reflecting upon what the Democrats did to this guy, impeaching him twice, all the attacks, and here he is brokering one of the most historic peace accords in the world. Okay, let's continue.
Well, thank you very much. It's an honor to have the president of Ukraine with us. We've had a lot of good discussions, a lot of good talks, and I think progress is being made, very, very substantial progress in many ways. We had a good meeting, as you know, just a short while ago with the president of Russia, and I think there's a possibility that something could come out of it, and today's meeting is very important. We have, I guess, the seven very powerful leaders from Europe, and we're going to be meeting with them right after this meeting, and thank you very much for being here.
Thank you so much, Mr. President.
Let's see. Here's more.
That if everything works out well today, we'll have a trilat, and I think there will be a reasonable chance of ending the war when we do that. If everything
ending the war. That's what needs to happen. I think we have some more. There was a press conference, too. I want to see if I can find that. This was the post-Zelensky meeting. Let's check in. Here's President Trump outlining the points that will be discussed in the meeting with Zelensky and the European leaders.
The Alaska summit reinforced my belief that while difficult, peace is within reach, and I believe that in a very significant step, President Putin agreed that Russia would accept security guarantees for Ukraine, and this is one of the key points that we need to consider, and we're going to be considering that at the table also, like who will do what, essentially. I'm optimistic that collectively we can reach an agreement that would deter any future aggression against Ukraine, and I actually think there won't be. I think that's even overrated, largely overrated, but we're going to find out, and I think that the European nations are going to take a lot of the burden. We're going to help them, and we're going to make it very secure. We also need to discuss the possible exchanges of territory, taking into consideration the current line of contact. That means the war zone, the war lines that are pretty obvious, very sad, actually, to look at them. And negotiating positions. President Putin, also, you have President of Ukraine, who is, you just met a little while ago, and we're going to try and get a three-party meeting, maybe as soon as we can. And I have a feeling you and President Putin are going to work something out. Ultimately, this is a decision that can only be made by President Zelensky and by the people of Ukraine working also together in agreement with President Putin. And I just think that's very good things are going to come of it. So I hope we have a good meeting. And if we can have a good meeting, I'll set up a meeting with President Putin. And if you'd like, I'll go to that meeting. And not that I want to do that, but I will do that because we want to save a lot of people from dying. A lot of people are dying, and we got to save them. The Alaska summit.
Can you imagine the visuals coming from that? Yeah. Here is more from the meeting.
Peace, and all of us would obviously prefer an immediate ceasefire while we work on a lasting peace, and maybe something like that could happen. As of this moment, it's not happening, but President Zelensky and President Putin can talk a little bit more about that. You know, in the 6 or so wars that we stopped, we haven't had a ceasefire. And so I don't know that it's necessary. You can do it through the war, but it would be, I like the ceasefire from another standpoint. You immediately stop the killing. But I believe a peace agreement at the end of all of this is something that's very attainable, and it can be done in the near future. With all of the wars that I got involved in, we only have this one left. Of course, as I walk out the door, there'll probably be a new one starting, and I'll get that stopped too. But I thought this was going to be one of the easier ones. It's actually one of the most difficult. They're very complex. The next step would be for a trilateral meeting, and that will be worked out. And I just look forward to working and having a great result. All of us would obviously.
Looks like we got some reaction from Marco Rubio just in a few moments ago with Jesse Waters.
Have such alliances. any sovereign country in the world has a right to enter into security alliances with other countries. You know, it's not just NATO. We have such alliances with South Korea. We have it with Japan. Other countries have it with each other. And so I think everyone would acknowledge, including, by the way, for the first time, the Russian side, under President Trump's sort of pressure or, you know, a suggestion, is that, in fact, a Ukraine post-conflict has a right to enter into security agreements with other countries. And we will work with our European allies and non-European countries, by the way, to build such a security guarantee. We're working on that right now. We'll continue to work on that. And that'll be something that'll have to be in place after a peace deal. So that
a security agreement with the United States. Interesting. Let's continue. There's another clip here just coming in.
We're there on the... Well, I think the whole thing was a big moment. Unprecedented, really, when you think about all these European leaders came here, 7 that were there on the... And that included the head of NATO and the head of the EU. And they all said the same thing, which is this, you know, after 3 years of sort of deadlock and no talks and no change in circumstances, this is the first time where there seems to be some movement. Now, look, this is a complicated war. There's no doubt about it. I mean, this has been going on for 3.5 years. A lot of people have died. A lot of territories exchanged back and forth. So it's not an easy thing to unwind. But nothing was happening on this war. Literally, the only option that we were given under the previous administration was continue to fund Ukraine for however much they need, for however long it takes. And now you have people actually talking about pathways towards ending it. Now, it's going to take a little bit more work and a little bit more time, but we are making progress. It's not me saying it. That is virtually every leader there today said that in front of the cameras, and they're saying it for a reason, because it's true and they're witnessing it and they've been a part of it. Well, I think the whole thing...
Let's see if we can get some reaction. Here is the Secretary General of NATO.
That you, as I said, I really want to thank you, President of the United States, dear Donald, for the fact that you, as I said before, broke the deadlock. Basically with President Putin by starting that dialogue. And I think it was in February that you had the first phone call. And from there, we are now where we are today. And that is, I think, if we play this well, we could end this. And we have to end this. We have to stop the killing. We have to stop the destruction of Ukraine's infrastructure. It is a terrible war. So I'm really excited. I really want to thank...
Here is Zelensky.
Very good. Thank you so much. I think that we had very good conversation with President Trump.
Very good.
And it really was the best one. Maybe the best one will be in the future. But it was really good. And we spoke about very sensitive points. Thank you so much. I think...
Here's more. This is the Chancellor Friedrich Merz.
Meeting. And President, dear Donald, many thanks for having us today. I think this is extremely helpful that we are meeting and hearing that the two of you are having such a good meeting today here in Washington. The next steps ahead are the more complicated ones now. The path is open. You opened it last Friday. But now the way is open for complicated negotiations. President, dear Donald, many thanks for having us.
Let's keep going. There's so much to get to. Here's the Prime Minister, Keir Starmer.
Discussion on the phone. I think this is such an important meeting. As a group, I think we've had a discussion on the phone a number of times, Mr. President, but be able now to be around the table to take it forward. And I really feel that we can, I think, with the right approach this afternoon, make real progress, particularly on the security guarantees, and your indication of security guarantees, of some sort of Article 5 style guarantees, fits with what we've been doing with the Coalition of the Willing, which we started some months ago, bringing countries together and showing that we were prepared to step up to the plate when it came to security. With you coming alongside, the US alongside what we've already developed, I think we could take a really important step forward today. A historic step, actually, could come out of this meeting in terms of security for Ukraine and security in Europe. I also feel that we can make real progress towards a just and lasting outcome. Obviously, that has to involve Ukraine, and a trilateral meeting seems the sensible next step. So thank you for being prepared to take that forward, because I think if we can ensure that that is the progress out of this meeting, both security guarantees and some sort of progress on trilateral meeting of some sort to bring some of the difficult issues to a head, then I think today will be seen as a very important day in recent years in relation to a conflict which has gone on for 3 and a bit years, and so far nobody's been able to bring it to this point. So I thank you for that. I think this is such.
If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. What you just saw is what real leadership looks like. Trump went from Putin to Zelensky in 48 hours, doing what career politicians called impossible. He's not playing favorites. He said it straight. I love the Ukrainian people. I love the Russian people. I love them all. That is not weakness, that's strength. While Biden sent blank checks and body bags, Trump is actually sending negotiations and peace proposals. Even Melania is stepping up with handwritten letters about saving children. I mean, the media mock Trump's art of the deal. Well, 6 wars ended this year says different. Solutions. In the establishment, they can't compute because their entire business model depends on forever wars. So here's my question. When Trump wins the Nobel Peace Prize for ending this war, should he thank Putin for showing up? Zelensky for wearing a suit? Or Hunter Biden for making his dad look so bad? Drop your answer below. Make sure you grab some merch on your way out at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Tap the link in the description. You might find something you like. All right, let's check in. No new super chats to speak of. Let's see. We got Karen. I only got an ad at the beginning and the end. Blue Moon B. I use different browser. YouTube is a-hole. Well, you guys got to remember, these ads also support the channel. So, I mean, they are what they are. Just skip through them if you don't like them. What can I say? Deborah says, Trump will do what he can. Art Boyd. You guys are too funny. Okay, let's check in with our... Let's check in with our topic here before we get to all the scandals brewing beneath the surface. The answer, you guys said peace treaty written in blood. It was actually a strongly worded letter. The Cossacks' reply was so vulgar, it became legendary art. Who knew? All right, moving into our next trivia question of the evening. You guys are on fire tonight. Thank you for joining us. Make sure you share and comment and do all the things, right? Here's a trivia question. What did J. Edgar Hoover keep in his secret FBI files on politicians? Was it A, blackmail material, B, their favorite pizza toppings, C, autographed photos of himself, or D, communist brownie recipes? Answer in the chat or the comments or otherwise. Okay. The Epstein investigation just exploded on Capitol Hill with Bill Barr's sworn testimony crushing years of media lies about Trump. But the real story is who can't testify. Robert Mueller, sharp enough to chase Russian ghosts for years, reportedly can't appear due to serious health issues. If he's truly suffering, our prayers are with him. But investigators need answers about the old Epstein files in the FBI. Meanwhile, Trump is declaring war on mail-in voting while Colorado whistleblower Tina Peters rots in prison and Jenna Griswold walks free after leaking voting machine passwords. The same two-tier justice protecting some while destroying others. What Barr revealed about the Epstein investigation will shock you, but I question his real motivations. The cover-up, though, is crumbling, so keep on watching. And the truth about powerful people often stays buried in secret files. Just like Chuck Norris shocked everyone by revealing his secret to staying strong at 84 years old. What's emerging from these Epstein files will shock the nation. And Chuck discovered 3 things that sabotage our bodies as we age and fixed them with one simple change. Now he is stronger than men half his age with energy for his grandkids. His wife joined him, feels 10 years younger, but here is the connection. Just as Chuck exposed what keeps us weak physically, these testimonies are exposing what keeps us weak politically. Hidden corruption. See Chuck's method at chuckdefense.com/next, because whether it's your body or your government, hidden problems need sunlight to heal. Okay, so if you remember, we covered what Project Veritas broke just a couple days ago. Project Veritas reports that recently uncovered text messages and emails show the former Attorney General Bill Barr worked with the Fulton County DA Willis on the RICO case against President Trump. And Bill Barr even had a target list. This is it. These are the handwritten notes of the whistleblower, the secretary, that came forward and exposed Bill Barr's connection to taking down President Trump in that RICO case. So why now are we seeing Bill Barr testify with glowing remarks about President Trump? Is it because what Bill Barr is saying is true, or is he saying it because he's afraid that he is next on the list because of what this whistleblower has uncovered? Epstein investigations start. Former AG Bill Barr arriving on Capitol Hill, marking the first deposition in the House Oversight Committee's investigation into Jeffrey Epstein. Now, if you recall, Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton also are set to testify. We'll wait and see what their excuse is, because Robert Mueller has apparently, cognitive decline. But if you didn't know, AG Bill Barr's family has a long, dark history with Epstein. Bill Barr's dream was to work at the CIA, which would eventually come true. Bill Barr was the CIA's mop-up man, and his father worked directly with Epstein while he was the headmaster at the Dalton School. A former CIA officer now testifying under oath about Epstein. Take a wild guess what happens. Bill Barr has lied to Congress once. What stops him from doing it again? No more games. There must be accountability.
Into what's the message that you have for the committee today? Was your Department of Justice straight with Americans about everything about Jeffrey Epstein?
Barr's testimony before the House Oversight Committee is kicking off a series of high-profile closed-door depositions. Those are intended to extend through mid-October, including subpoenas issued for Hillary and Bill Clinton. That's all part of the probe into Epstein's crimes and the Justice Department's handling of that case. Mr. Barr's time as Attorney General spanned Epstein's 2019 arrest, his later death at Metropolitan Correctional Center, which he called appalling, as well as Ghislaine Maxwell's arrest. Now, additionally, tomorrow is the deadline the committee has given for the complete DOJ records on the case. So will that deadline be met?
Well, we're having really good conversations. You have to understand you can imagine how many documents there are. I think that we're going to have I think we'll receive the documents very soon. We're very excited. This will be our first deposition in our bipartisan investigation into the entire Epstein Island saga. So we've got a lot of questions for former Attorney General Barr. I appreciate his willingness to come in, and hopefully this will be the first of many. I'll answer your question.
You set a deadline for tomorrow for DOJ to release an unredacted full Epstein file. Do you expect them to deliver on that?
Well, we're having really good conversations. You have to understand you can imagine how many documents there are. I think that we're going to have I think we'll receive the documents very soon. They're compiling everything together. I think we're working together in a good faith effort, and everything's coming along. I expect to receive the documents very, very soon.
Is that their explanation, though, that there's just so many documents that they can't meet your deadline?
Well, we always get that explanation in every investigation we've done in the 2.5 years I've been here. But I think that I'm confident we're going to get the documents.
Are there other topics you're hoping to ask him about as well, or just Epstein and Maxwell?
Well, the subpoena was just for Epstein. There are some other things that I'm curious about, so we'll see how it goes. But obviously the purpose of this deposition is on Epstein.
So there is bipartisan interest in this case, and some see the interest by Democrats as newfound. I mean, they had 4 years to dive into this case.
Trafficking charges that could have sent him to prison for the rest of his life.
He served 13 months in a private wing of the Palm Beach County Stockade. His alleged co-conspirators who helped schedule his sex sessions were never prosecuted, and the deal, called, again, this is the Miami Herald, a federal non-prosecution agreement, was sealed so that no one, not even his victims, could know the full scope of Epstein's crimes and who else was involved, close quote. The fact that federal prosecutors...
So let's keep digging in here. Bill Barr testifies he didn't see info that would implicate Trump in the Epstein case, despite what all the Democrats are screaming. Comer says the former Attorney General Bill Barr told House investigators Monday he never saw anything that could tie Trump to Epstein. And it looks like Shifty Schiff was laying the groundwork back in 2021. For what? Check out this headline. Adam Schiff claims Robert Mueller is suffering heartbreaking cognitive decline. October 6th, 2021. Yeah, because now we're learning that House Oversight Committee subpoenaed Robert Mueller to appear on September 2nd deposition to provide details from an FBI investigation of Jeffrey Epstein from decades ago, even though sources tell me Mueller has been living in a memory care facility for the past few years. How convenient. Now, flashback to 2019. We have this from Elise Stefanik when she questioned Robert Mueller about the Russia impeachment hoax and how it went to the highest levels.
Whether there was...
Ms. Stefanik.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Mueller, as special counsel, did you review documents related to the origin of the counterintelligence investigation into the Trump campaign?
On occasion.
Was the Steele dossier one of those documents that was reviewed?
And I can't discuss that case.
I'm just asking a process question. Have you read the Steele dossier?
And again, I'm not going to respond to that.
You were tasked as special counsel to investigate whether there was collusion between Russia and the Trump campaign associates to interfere with the 2016 election. And the FBI, we know, has relevant documents and information related to the opening of the CI investigation. Were you and your team permitted to access all of those documents?
And again, I can't get into that investigative, what we collected and what we're doing with investigation materials.
Let me ask it.
And of course, now we know who was all really behind it. Let's see. Republican House Oversight Committee plans to withdraw its subpoena for the former FBI director and special counsel Robert Mueller, claiming that Mueller has health issues that preclude him from being able to testify. Do you believe that? AM 560, The Answer, posting a link to Town Hall. CNN's furious that Adam Schiff is facing federal investigations. Oh, that doesn't surprise me one bit. CNN not too happy. Democrats who sought to weaponize the government against President Donald Trump might face accountability. I like how they write this. The alleged news outlet published a report taking Trump to task for supposedly using the FBI and Justice Department against Senator Adam Schiff and New York Attorney General Letitia James. During Trump's first term, then Rep. Adam Schiff was on the forefront of the Russia hoax, as well as the first doomed effort to impeach him. Back in those days, Schiff was a regular on cable news networks, constantly claiming to have decisive evidence that the Trump campaign colluded with the Russian government to influence the outcome of the 2016. However, he never provided any evidence. We have this from President Trump in the Oval Office today. This is another point about ending mail-in voting. This is huge.
Voting. So between paper ballots, very, very important, paper ballots, and I think maybe even more important, the mail-in voting. We're going to end mail-in voting. It's a fraud. If you have mail-in vote, even Jimmy Carter with this commission, they set it up. He said the one thing about mail-in voting, you will never have an honest election if you have mail-in. And it's time that the Republicans get tough and stop it, because the Democrats want it. It's the only way they can get elected. Because with men and women's sports and with transgender for everybody and open borders and all of the horrible things, and now the new thing is they love crime. They're fighting me on the fact that I've made Washington, D.C. safe. We're not going to get mugged, beaten up, or killed like all the people you've been watching get so badly hurt. I'm glad. I hate to take your time with this, but I'm glad you asked me that question. We're going to stop mail-in ballots because it's corrupt. So between paper ballots...
Mail-in ballots coming to an end, thank God. And who remembers this? Jenna Griswold. Remember her? There's enough hard evidence to convict Jenna Griswold of 2020 presidential election fraud. Charles Beale writes, the communist witch should be behind bars instead of the courageous and patriotic Tina Peters. Unfortunately, protecting Tina Peters from false prosecution and abuse of her civil rights is not a priority for Donald Trump and his DOJ. Tina Peters is languishing in a Colorado prison because of a horribly corrupt and weaponized system of justice. Tina committed no crime, and she is a true American hero. Jenna Griswold is a radical communist and should never hold elected office anywhere in America. She should be in prison for orchestrating the false persecution of Tina Peters. If Trump wanted Tina to be released from prison, she would be released. Do not be deceived. Here we have a Gold Star mom. This Gold Star mom, Tina Peters, and her son. Her son died while serving as a Navy SEAL. She exposed election fraud in Colorado, and prosecutors went after her instead of the real criminals. She may now die in prison. But get this. While her trial was ongoing, Jenna Griswold leaked the election machine passwords for hundreds of election machines in Colorado, a Class 5 felony, and Jenna never said anything to the court. Jenna watched as Gold Star mom Tina Peters was dragged away in chains when Jenna personally did far worse under the law. This is from D.C. Drano. He writes, I will spend the next 4 years fighting to free Tina and hold Jenna accountable. Here she is on a prison phone call.
Oh, always. We did subpoena Mike Frontera, Dominion's lawyer, but they found a way to not let us have our witnesses. What Jenna did, though, that since at least June, those BIOS passwords, 670 of them, from 63 counties out of the 64 counties in Colorado, have been on the public website for the Secretary of State, which means they were out there for anybody to grab.
Anyway.
She should be locked up, and they should throw away the key and let me loose.
Yeah, we need a prisoner swap.
Yeah, for sure.
So you think that this election in Colorado was definitely compromised because of the leaked passwords?
Oh, always. I mean, in Mesa County, they were finding fraudulent ballots. They were finding the same person was signing the ballot envelopes, and they brushed it off like it was nothing. As a matter of fact, what Jenna Griswold did with the passwords, she knew while I was going through the trial that was out there and did nothing.
So those passwords were leaked out there during your trial before your sentencing?
They were out there since June, but she knew about it and didn't tell the clerks about it. And now she's apologizing to the clerks. She should apologize to the American people, or at least the people in Colorado. But there are other passwords besides just for Colorado, I've heard, for the United States in there for Dominion machines.
So you think some of our other elections in other states could be compromised because of leaked passwords for the Dominion machines?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's what's going on with the cartel in Arizona and Michigan. And, you know, I was so happy when I saw Florida for Trump and all these other places. But just remember, Dominion's headquarters is in Colorado, Denver, Colorado.
Yeah.
Heartbreaking story. President Trump needs to act immediately and see her freed and Jenna Griswold behind bars. Here is more. Jenna Griswold should be prosecuted.
This is not the first time that your office has made mistakes that have damaged voters' confidence in our elections. In 2022, your office sent out mailers to 30,000 non-citizens inviting them to register to vote. They, of course, are not eligible to register to vote. That same year, your office used Colorado's ballot tracking system to send messages to specific Coloradans encouraging them to vote when, in fact, they had already voted, causing confusion that had to be cleaned up by the county clerks. And now this leak of the voting system passwords. Given your office's repeated errors that have damaged confidence in our elections, which you say is paramount, will you resign?
Absolutely not.
This is not the first time that your office has made mistakes that have damaged...
Will you resign? Of course not. No accountability for these people. But at least we're seeing the beginning of accountability in the Epstein case and other scandals that are rocking Washington, D.C. right now. It just doesn't end, but we are going to be covering all of it as these depositions continue. Perhaps Bill Barr will find himself on the other end of investigation with respect to what he did with the Georgia case, the RICO case with Fani Willis. That remains to be seen. But if you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. So this is bigger than Epstein. It's about a system that protects predators while prosecuting patriots. Barr confirmed that Trump had zero connection to Epstein's crimes, destroying years of media smears. But Mueller, who could expose what the FBI knew decades ago, conveniently can't testify. Whether his health issues are real or convenient, the timing stinks. Meanwhile, the same DOJ that won't touch Epstein's client list throws the book at election whistleblowers. Tina Peters is in prison for exposing fraud while Jenna Griswold walks free after leaking voting machine passwords. Two systems of justice, one for them and one for us. And Trump's right, mail-in voting is fraud, and this whole corrupt system needs to be fixed. So here's the question. Do you believe that Mueller's testimony problems and his memory problems are real or just another deep state dodge? Comment below. And show that you're awake. Grab some gear at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Okay, we got no super chats. Oh, no tips for Gary. All right, slow Monday. Let's see what you guys are saying. Mine didn't show up. Pull the string. Oh, my brother, yours. Bitterly, super pissed she made a copy of the machine. They're all deep state agents. Treason. Washington state mail-in elections are rigged. Evening Boyd. Deep state dodge. Any Wexit updates? What is that? Wexit? Wexit? That's something new I haven't heard of yet. I'll have to look into that. Let's get to our trivia answer. It was A, blackmail material. You guys got it right. Hoover's files controlled Washington for decades through fear. And now we're going to move into our next topic, Newsom's sanctuary hypocrisy. But first, a trivia question. In 1969, which California governor called out troops to turn Berkeley into a bloodbath? Was it A, Ronald Reagan, B, Jerry Brown's dad, C, Gavin's hair gel supplier, or D, a very angry hippie? We're going to find out after the segment. Leave your answer in the poll or in the chat or in the comments below. Three Americans are dead because California handed a driver's license to an illegal alien. The killer crossed our border in 2018, got caught, then somehow ended up behind the wheel of an 18-wheeler with California's blessing. Now a Florida family is planning funerals instead of futures. But here's what will really make your blood boil. When confronted with the blood on their hands, Newsom took time away from gerrymandering Republican districts out of existence to blame Trump. The same sanctuary state that protected this killer is now playing politics with the bodies. What you're about to see exposes a system so corrupt and so deadly that even calling it criminal doesn't do it justice. This is state-sponsored murder. Keep watching. Now, if you're getting close to retirement or just thinking ahead, you've probably done a solid job of saving, but here's something most people don't consider. How much of that money is just sitting in cash? You might feel safe, but holding too much cash guarantees only one thing: that you're losing purchasing power. Inflation eats away at it, and the dollar's value keeps slipping. That's why more people are looking at real assets like physical gold and silver to protect their savings. And one company makes it easy: Noble Gold Investments. You can buy gold or silver coins or bars and have them shipped directly to your home or stored securely. It's a smart way to convert cash into something that actually holds value. Noble Gold is fair, transparent, and they don't pressure you. Just solid information and real options. Visit nextnewsgold.com. You'll find a link below, or you can call that number 877-646-5347 and tell Colin that Gary said hello. So a tragedy on the highway in Florida. And this picture basically sums it up. You see it? A cartoon image, a semi crossing a highway. Across the side it says, "Diversity, our wheels, your strength," and with cars sandwiched underneath it. And the reality is what happened in that moment. And I don't even know if I can. I mean, you can see it here when that car went underneath that semi. It's absolutely heartbreaking when I saw that footage. To find out a family of 3 all killed instantly because of this driver. We're finding out now that the California governor's state is responsible for issuing the CDL to the driver who just killed an entire family. H-2B visas have been exploited to allow uneducated third world illegal aliens to obtain their CDLs by scamming the system. According to Florida officials, Harjinder Singh entered the United States illegally, having crossed the Mexico border in 2018. The defendant then obtained a commercial driver's license in the state of California. This family would be alive right now if not for Gavin. There is no doubt about it. Now, you've probably seen the video. I'm not even gonna play it, but it's so horrific. You can see some of it there on your screen. I'm trying to be sensitive to the topic because it's so horrific. But this is the headline that is now being plastered everywhere. Illegal U-turn truck driver arrested now for vehicular homicide. August 12th, 2025, state troopers responded to a crash on Florida's Turnpike occurring in St. Lucie County. The crash involved a minivan and a commercial semi-truck and trailer. Based upon initial but ongoing criminal investigation, it's evident the driver of the commercial semi-truck evident that the driver of the commercial semi-truck recklessly and without regard for the safety of others attempted to execute a U-turn utilizing an unauthorized location. As a result of his actions, 3 occupants of the minivan are now deceased. And now a criminal arrest warrant has been issued. 3 counts vehicular homicide. We're finding out, I mean, the tragedy could have been prevented. But this is the scene of Gavin Newsom's California. Homelessness, drug abuse, all right out there in the open. Paul Zapila writing that downtown San Francisco, California, last Friday, homelessness under Gavin Newsom's gotten worse over his 6 years as governor. That's due to the invasion of the illegals he's invited. Mass deportations can save San Francisco. But would they? Would they allow it? We have this from Wall Street Apes. I can't believe this is real. Gavin Newsom, Karen Bass, and Democrats get to decide whose homes burned down in California. Spencer Pratt still raising the alarm over those fires. Ready to be sick to your stomach? Listen.
At all. You ready to be sick to your stomach? Hopefully you already ate, because when you hear this, your mind is going to just explode. Karen Bass has responded to a lawsuit against her for burning down the Palisades and killing 12 senior citizens. And ready for this? Public officials have exclusive authority to decide whether fire protection should be provided at all, and if so, to what extent. And then you can't second guess with judges and juries if they decide what have I been paying taxes for? Okay, give me my money back, because I decided to the extent that you didn't provide fire protection, I want the money that I thought was being provided. So you owe me a big bill for paying at least the last 8 years in the Palisades for my little taxes. I want them back. Send them to me now. And I also want the money that my taxes paid for this lawyer to write this, that also I paid for. I want that money also back. You ready to be sick to your stomach?
People are absolutely furious over everything in California. Here is now, speaking of California, here's Eric Swallowswell, a Democrat from California, openly calling for violence against Republicans. Did you hear this?
That's what, when they go low, we're going to bury them below the Capitol. That's what we're going to do, because this is about protecting democracy. And right now, as you see, D.C. has been militarized, and we were weak as Democrats, frankly. When they go low, we're going to bury them below the Capitol. That's what.
When we go low, we're going to bury them below the Capitol. Eric Swalwell, everybody, openly calling for violence. And now we find out this. This is going back to that semi-tragedy. DHS and ICE confirmed to Fox News that the illegal alien truck driver who killed 3 in a crash in Florida is an Indian national who initially crossed the California border illegally in September 2018 and was arrested by Border Patrol. Harjinder Singh was processed for expedited removal by the first Trump administration, but claimed fear of going back to India. USCIS affirmed the fear via a positive finding of fear, and he was released on a $5,000 immigration bond in January 2019 after being given a notice to appear. He has remained in immigration proceedings ever since. He was arrested by U.S. Marshals in California on Saturday on a warrant for 3 counts of vehicular homicide in connection to the deadly crash in Florida. Photo of his arrest provided to Fox via federal source. Florida officials say that the sanctuary state of California gave him a commercial driver's license. Here's some more background. According to Singh, he has no serious physical or mental medical conditions, claims to have no known immediate relatives serving in the United States military, and is not the primary caretaker of a person with mental or physical disability. He claims to not be married or has any minor dependent children. He's not a victim of domestic violence in the United States. So here he is. This is the person alleged. You saw the video, right? Continuing with the tracking of this. I mean, this is the footage. I can't even see it. The truck driver who made the illegal U-turn on Florida's Turnpike led to the passing of 3 Americans illegally entered through the southern border, charged with 3 counts of vehicular homicide. Homicide charges and deportation. This is the aftermath of the accident. And there he is, just staring, looking on. He should be in handcuffs right there. How is that even possible? And now we're learning this. Gavin Newsom's proposed redistricting map is out. Remember, he was threatening Texas? California holds 52 U.S. House of Representatives seats. Currently, Republicans hold 9 of those. If this makes it into the special elections ballot in November and passes, it could lower the number of Republican seats to just 4. Gavin Newsom is doing this in retaliation for Texas' attempt to redistrict their state.
Districts. California has officially released the maps. These are the proposed maps that state lawmakers are hoping to send to voters this November in a special election to redraw California's congressional districts to try to send 5 more Democrats to the U.S. House of Representatives. This is all in response to Texas, who is also trying to redistrict at the request of President Donald Trump to try to remove 5 Democrats from their representation and send more Republicans to the House. So this interactive map is on the California legislature's website right now. California has 52 seats in the U.S. House of Representatives. 9 are held by Republicans right now. This map attempts to remove 5 Republicans. Those Republicans are Representative Doug LaMalfa and Representative Kevin Kiley in Northern California, Representative David Valadao in the Central Valley, and then Representatives Ken Calvert and Darrell Issa in Southern California. Democrats believe this would void Texas's Republican gains. This map also tries to solidify some Democratic seats. For example, Representative Adam Gray in District 13 in the Central Valley, his seat was won by just a handful of votes. And now that seat under this proposal would be more solidified Democratic representation based on the way that this is drawn. I've linked the interactive map in my bio along with where you can submit public comment. California lawmakers will have the first hearing on this on Tuesday, and then they will vote to send this on the ballot on Thursday. If all goes according to plan, California voters will see this map on the November 4th ballot. To be crystal clear, that election is November 4th of this year. California's Democratic leadership is going to ask voters to allow this map to take effect for the 2026, 2028, and 2030 elections if and only if Texas or another Republican state redraws its lines within this decade. And they feel the need to ask voters because right now under the California Constitution, State lawmakers do not have the power to redraw or draw congressional districts. So get ready for it to be another election year in California. California has officially released.
California retaliating to Texas. Tony Saruga posting this. They sure are, you ignorant. Say hi to your cartel. Gavin's entire life's been glitchy and a complete failure. He's a charlatan, a fraud, and a fake. Gavin Newsom's entire governorship is a parody. I mean, you got the homeless videos. You've got the fires.
Oh, that's horrible. Oh, that's where I go to get my stuff.
Can we explain to Californians how we moved from a $100 billion surplus to such a significant deficit in just a matter of a few years?
Well, it's, we can explain it. $349 billion of unprecedented capital gains, 11.6%, when traditional capital gains is around 5.18% on average. It's almost double. So you had massive volatility. You have requirements under Prop 2,
whatever.
the GAN.
I don't even want to give the guy any airtime. He makes me so nauseous. The fact that he's clearly positioning himself for a presidential run is terrifying. Here we have this Carly Bonet. TDS is exposing greasy Gavin Newsom's hypocrisy.
I just don't think it
going on in California.
Yeah, focus determines reality, right? That's just a rule that works in politics and everywhere else. And when Californians see this is the focus of Gavin Newsom, my goodness, I just don't think it resonates.
There are a lot more things that rise to the top. And I think what a lot of people will realize when they start drilling down and following what Governor Gavin Newsom is trying to do, he would actually have to change the process of redistricting in California to get this done, taking it away from an independent commission, giving it back to the legislature, which is really ironic because that's exactly what he's complaining about when he talks about what Texas is doing wrong. So people are smart and they're going to realize, wait a second, Governor Newsom is saying what Texas is doing is wrong, so we're going to do that too?
Right.
The hypocrisy there just doesn't make any sense.
That's why it's a losing issue for the governor there in California and these other states protesting. You yell and scream. They got Trump derangement syndrome, clearly. All right, still.
Trump derangement syndrome still permeates America, unfortunately. But, another shot of Gavin Newsom's California there. Also this, 24 hours ago, California unemployment rate highest in the U.S. again. Libs of TikTok posting that. Governor Newsom, who was president in 2018? This individual is an illegal immigrant who was granted a commercial driver's license by the state of California, and now 3 innocent people are dead. They're trying to blame it on Donald Trump. But it was California that gave him that license. Let's check in with Scott Jennings over there in the Lion's Den at CNN, talking about gerrymandering in general with Gavin Newsom.
Under a supposed... Let me summarize Gavin Newsom's speech today. Gerrymandering is evil. Please vote for my gerrymandering. Of course, he failed to mention that it's already gerrymandered. Republicans get 40% of the vote in California. They have 17% of the congressional seats under a supposed independent redistricting commission. So we're going to further gerrymander the gerrymandering
by
that standard,
standard, Scott, Texas is also gerrymandered. So
you want to keep going? How about Illinois?
But here's the issue. I would readily concede it. No, regular census, the legislature there gerrymandered Illinois. That's right. It wasn't in the middle of the game. But let the other side, because I think, you can fuzzy up that, and I think you've got some good political, there's probably good sense politics behind fuzzying that up. But here's the problem, and you sort of touched on it. Donald Trump fundamentally does not believe in rules, in laws, in norms, in institutions. He believes in doing what's in his political self-interest, his personal self-interest.
Well, he's trying to get any kind of advantage that he can. Hardly unusual for a politician or a political party. I totally disagree with you about the popularity of his policies. I think Democrats are on the wrong side of violent crime. I think they're on the wrong side of illegal immigration. And I think they're on the wrong side of virtually every cultural issue he's put in play. I think we're going to be quite fine fighting that out. Let me summarize Gavin Newsom.
The wrong side of history. How about that? Okay, so this is from Rapid Response 47. We appreciate Newsom's office admitting California ignored their own law when they gave this criminal illegal immigrant scumbag a CDL. The defendant then obtained a commercial driver's license in the state of California. Let's check in with Stephen Miller, one of my favorite members of the administration, talking about the mayor of Los Angeles.
The mayor of Los Angeles and the governor of California were in the largest sanctuary city and the largest sanctuary state in America. They refused to turn over tens of thousands of serial criminally illegal aliens to ICE. So they get arrested by state or local authorities and they get cut loose. They then go on to commit crimes like assault, armed robbery, home invasion, and murder. The most unimaginable, egregious crimes you could think of. All of that blood, all of that suffering, all of that heartache, squarely on the soul and conscience of California's governor and the mayor of Los Angeles. They are guilty of crimes against humanity. They are facilitating child trafficking, sex trafficking. Look, they think this is a game. They think this is a joke. This is life and death.
I mean, literally, they gave that guy a CDL.
Meet with the families as you have, Griff, whose loved ones have been raped and killed and slaughtered by criminal illegal aliens who have no right to be in this country. What Newsom are doing and what Bass is doing are unforgivable. And God bless our ICE agents and Border Patrol agents for going out there and doing this mission on behalf and on the orders of President Trump to make America safe for our citizens. The Democrat Party seems to only care about two groups right now, criminals and illegal aliens. And that's it. Donald Trump's Republican Party is fighting for law-abiding American citizens, and you're seeing the results. The mayor of Los Angeles.
I think we can leave it right there. If you got value from this report, tab subscribe. My final thought is next. So this is what sanctuary state policies get you. Dead on American highways. Harjinder Singh crossed illegally in 2018. Got caught by Trump's Border Patrol. But California said, here's a commercial driver's license, drive an 18-wheeler. Now 3 people are dead in Florida. Stephen Miller nailed it. These sanctuary policies are guilty of crimes against humanity. But instead of taking responsibility, Newsom's playing word games about who was president in 2018. Trump caught Singh. California released him with a CDL. That's the difference between enforcement and enablement. Meanwhile, Newsom's redrawing districts to eliminate Republican seats while his policies eliminate American lives. The blood is on his hands, not Trump's. So here's my question. Should sanctuary state officials face criminal charges when their policies kill Americans? Yes or no? I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below, and support Real News that exposes these killers by going to shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. We've got gear that speaks the truth. Okay, we got our boy dropping $5. Wexit is 5 provinces escaping Canada land. Interesting. I don't think that'll ever happen, but maybe just turn them into the 51st state, right? Okay, the answer to our trivia question was Ronald Reagan. In 1969, which California governor called out troops to turn Berkeley into a bloodbath? Ronald Reagan. He famously said, if there's a bloodbath, it's on them. Wow. Okay, we got to move into something a little bit lighter, but also equally as bizarre. But first, a trivia question. What did Walt Disney originally name Mickey Mouse before his wife intervened? Was it A, Mortimer Mouse, B, Michael Rodent, C, Capitalist Cat Chaser, or D, Sir Squeaks-a-Lot? I guess we'll find out after this segment. Disney's woke empire is burning, and their response exposes everything wrong with Hollywood. After losing hundreds of millions of dollars on race swap princesses and political fairy tales, They're pulling out their oldest trick, and it involves a 66-year-old woman and a dance from the 1990s. The same company lecturing you about progressive values is desperately exploiting Jamie Lee Curtis's sex symbol past to save their sinking ship. But the real story here isn't what Disney's doing, it's what they're admitting. When ideology fails, they go straight back to what they claim to hate. The hypocrisy is more stunning than any special effect, and what you're about to see will change how you view every single Disney product forever. Now, Disney's hypocrisy is destroying their empire, but there's one area where being genuine still matters: your health. While Disney pretends to care about values, then exploits sex symbols for profit, there are people who actually walk their talk. Like turmeric. You've heard about it, but here's what matters. Standard turmeric barely gets absorbed by your body. Dr. Josh Levitt discovered BCM 95 curcumin and absorbs 200 times better than regular turmeric. He combined it with boswellia to fight inflammation, magnesium for tight muscles, and bromelain for joint stiffness in Golden Revive Plus. Now, this is not just another pill. It's a complete joint restoration system. Now, I take it daily. No more morning stiffness, no hesitation on stairs. Real solutions, not Hollywood fakery. Visit goldenrevive.com/NNN and start moving pain-free again. So this is what everybody is talking about. Jamie Lee Curtis and her ample assets. Now, this was trending. Jamie Lee Curtis dancing and bouncing her assets on a stage, promoting a new film. The film is called Freakiest Friday. So they're pulling out Jamie Lee Curtis and her ample assets to try to bring people back to the movie theater. After disaster after disaster after disaster at the box office. So, of course, everybody remembers Jamie Lee Curtis in the 80s and the 90s in films like... here she is, Jamie Lee Curtis, 66, still using her body to promote her films. Jamie Lee Curtis, let's see, I think that on the left is from True Lies. I'm not sure what the other one is from. I do know this is from Trading Places because my mentor, Aaron Russo, produced that film. There's Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd, famous film. And, of course, she plays a prostitute in that film. But they felt it was necessary to bring out Jamie Lee Curtis again because, of course, their ratings, their ticket sales are being destroyed. Now, listen, I don't want to just keep promoting all these pictures of Jamie Lee Curtis. And, of course, this famous video, film from her True Lies striptease. Of course, that was from the 90s. But this from 9 hours ago. Jamie Lee Curtis shared her pride in Freakier Friday's all-female creative team, from director Nisha Ganatra to writer Jordan Weiss, composer Amy Doherty. Women get things done. After the film's impressive $46.5 million opening weekend. Women are leading the way, and we're leading with the things that women do. So what is it that women do? Is it just, presenting the assets? It's stunning that they're bragging about an all-women cast and production team or whatever it is, but then using the sex appeal of women to try to bring people into this movie. But again, I bring it back to the fact that it's because Disney has completely collapsed. And apparently, look at this. This is from July 23rd. Disney's making a new woke Peter Pan movie. I did not know this.
I'm willing to give... Disney is doing another remake. Are we surprised? No. They are doing a new Peter Pan movie because obviously no one can be bothered to make anything except remakes these days. And Tinkerbell is now black because obviously the only creative thing that Disney can do is race swapping. She's being played by Yara Shahidi. First look at Yara Shahidi as Tinkerbell in Disney's Peter Pan and Wendy. But let's watch the trailer. I'm willing to give it another shot because I do love Peter Pan.
How did you come to Neverland?
You...
Los Boys.
Every last one of us. Oh my god, they're so diverse!
But you're not all boys.
So? Oh! There were lost girls. We're not all boys. Who cares? We're non-binary. That does look cool. I won't say that it looks bad because I love Peter Pan, but why was it necessary? Genuinely. It's nothing revolutionary other than adding in some female lost boys, sprinkling in some more diversity, and, updating the visual effects.
Will they learn? Apparently, they're working very hard using Jamie Lee Curtis. And of course, everyone remembers the Snow White controversy. Why almost no one will go see the new woke Disney Snow White because it's Bud Light 2.0.
The original cartoon.
Not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be, and the leader that her late father told her that she could be if she was fear.
Yeah, you see, that's why Disney's failing. Disney, go woke, go broke. Disney's quarterly theatrical earnings down 15% from last year. Here's a post we made back in April. Hollywood elite attack. Hannity destroys Disney CEO Bob Iger for his vile comments about Elon and Melania. The woke entertainment cartel that poisons your children's minds is terrified of the Trump-Musk alliance. Their propaganda machine is crumbling. So they bring out this.
Curtis, come see everybody. It's Jamie Lee Curtis. Come see Freakier Friday. The same level of nostalgia and joy and laughter and happiness and tears and friendships are being enjoyed again now 22 years later. You're going to join with a big group of people who are finding something really sweet at the end of the summer to remind them what it is to be alive. I'm just really privileged that I get to take you on the ride. And so, thank you.
Yeah, I think the only nostalgia that they're trying to bring back is this nostalgia. Will it turn into ticket sales? I don't know. I have no intention of seeing that film. Let's check in with what Hannity was saying.
And when he made the comments about Elon Musk, I went after him. I'm like, really, Bob Iger, you're the CEO of woke DEI Disney. Do you approve that message joking about domestic terrorism? Just like when he went after Melania Trump, the woman speaks 6 languages. English is her 6th language. She's reading to children, and he starts making fun of her accent. I mean, you're just an asshole to do that. And I went hard at him, and I made him apologize to me before I'd ever give up. That's how deep in the pain I went against him. When he made the comments about Elon Musk.
Bob Iger, working hard. Here we have a clip from Ben Shapiro. Disney's woke agenda backfires again.
It's claiming there is a Pixar movie that was just released called Elio. It has been an absolute box office dud, like a complete gigantic failure. Disney is the same company that had top executives claiming that they were mainlining gay propaganda into children's programming. I mean, it's kind of an astonishing thing, right? I mean, this is a movie that is made for young kids by a gay director, and it was a queer-coded 11-year-old in the film. Why in the world would a parent take their kid to see that? Why? And Disney knew that was going to be a mistake. And so they changed it, but it was too late. Because it turns out that the artistic efforts that went into making this a queer-coded film could not simply be removed without apparently affecting the final product in some way, shape, or form. But it demonstrates the lengths to which people in the entertainment industry will go to hijack the brains of your children, to screw with your children's values and morality. When you take your kid to a Pixar movie, you are not expecting that Pixar movie to be an ode to coming out of the closet for small children. That is not what you are expecting. And yet Pixar decided to hand this off to somebody who wanted to make it that thing. There is a Pixar movie that was just released called Ellie.
Yeah. So they pull out the old playbook. Some big old cans. Oh my goodness. What? I mean, how does that even happen? I mean, those things are enormous. I mean, you go from here to here? I don't know. I mean, maybe there's someone can explain it to me. Maybe it's surgery. Maybe it's Maybelline. I don't know. Let's flash back to this moment with Elon Musk. He says Disney is deeply infected with the woke mind virus.
If we're going to fight the woke mind virus, then the woke mind virus will fight back. And unfortunately, Disney is deeply infected with the woke mind virus. In fact, if you ask an AI what is the most woke company on earth, it's Disney. Really? You know? But, and you have to say, I think they should be asking themselves, what would Walt Disney think of Disney today? I think he's turning in his grave. I think he's not happy. Sure. You know, if the namesake of the company is not happy, that's probably a bad sign, you know? Because Walt Disney, what did he care about? He cared about bringing joy to people's lives. He making wonderful things that children and families could enjoy. He created some of the coolest, art in the world, and stuff that even 100 years after it's created, we still remember it, and it's still a major thing. But you have to say, how great was Walt Disney? He was amazing. But now, Disney, at least for now, is deeply infected with the woke mind virus. I think that will, that will change over time.
I hope so. Yeah, right.
If we're going to fight the woke mind virus,
will it change with Jamie Lee Curtis? I don't know. What else have we got here? Woke movies and TV shows suck because I prioritize agendas over storytelling. Kurt Russell, Roseanne Barr, and Tim Allen have formed the Non-Woke Actors Alliance, with more stars joining.
And television, woke movies and woke TV shows suck. And Kurt Russell, Roseanne Barr, and Tim Allen have put together the Non-Woke Actors Alliance, and many other actors are going to join as well. This is where they're focused on making sure that the quality of movies and television is based off of the script, the directing, the acting, the editing, not some stupid agenda pushing things that America doesn't want. Now, here's what's hilarious. If you look at Disney, which has had a huge track record of failing projects, television and movies, because they want some woke, silly, they care so much about that type of stuff, and it gets in the way of the actual storytelling. And Tim Allen, and it's amazing. So Tim Allen, Roseanne Barr, and Kurt Russell are saying, look, America doesn't want that anymore. They never wanted it in the first place, but we're going to fight against it, creating the Non-Woke Actors Alliance. And of course, they're going to attract a lot of big names. Now, let's do this question. Have you noticed that certain movies and TV shows that come out focused on that woke agenda, that it's just an epic, embarrassing fail, and it gets to a point where it's just like a mockery, almost like they're making fun of themselves by accident? What's your take on this? Do you like these actors? Would you ever watch a movie just because it's woke? Is that like a real thing? We should just follow Buzz Prodigal series. We'll figure it out together. Talk to you soon.
I don't think so. No, I don't think people go to watch movies. I mean, it's a minority of people. Oh, and speaking of minorities, here we have this. Disney took your childhood classics, filled them with woke garbage. Now they're losing billions. They race-swapped beloved characters, injected politics into fairy tales, and disrespected the nostalgia that made them iconic. Snow White was set to lose $250 million. Little Mermaid flopped, and Disney completely destroyed itself. And now they're going back to the drawing board to figure out exactly what to do. Oh, where's my bookmarks? There they are. There it is. Disney. Going back to the drawing board with an old tactic. Drawing up nostalgia. Men's nostalgia for Jamie Lee Curtis. Here's President Trump with Sylvester Stallone at Mar-a-Lago exposing woke Disney.
I'm owning Disney. The guy is stone cold broke in hands. I'm owning Disney. And then you got to have Disney because they were woke. He didn't want woke Donald Duck, right? Enjoy the entertainment. He was going to be fantastic. Let's go.
Even Donald Trump exposing woke Disney. So we're going to wait and see how this film turns out. Maybe Jamie Lee Curtis's assets will turn up the ticket sales, and maybe they will learn that some good old-fashioned sex sells, right? But it's Disney. What the hell? If you got value for this report, tab subscribe. My final thought is next. So this is Hollywood's mask slipping off. Disney preaches woke values, destroys classic stories with politics. Then when the money dries up, boom, they're exploiting Jamie Lee Curtis's True Lies legacy to sell tickets. The same executives who lecture middle America about being problematic are literally banking on a 66-year-old woman's sex symbol status from the 90s. Snow White lost $250 million going woke. Little Mermaid tanked. So what's Disney's solution? Not apologizing to families, not returning to wholesome entertainment. No, they're going full hypocrite, using sex to sell while pretending they're above it. Kurt Russell, Tim Allen, Roseanne, they formed the Non-Woke Alliance because they see the truth. So here's my question. Is Disney's shameless Curtis exploitation worse than their woke propaganda? Sound off below. And get gear that stands for real values. It's shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Okay. Jamie Lee Curtis. All right. Let them flop till they figure it out. Flop. What's going to flop? Disney uses pedo symbols. Cross-eyed. 80s. Yeah, 80s. Yeah. Anyway, let's get to our trivia answer here. It was, in fact, what did you guys say? Mortimer Mouse, you were correct. Lillian Disney said it sounded too pompous. Yeah. All right, folks, Raw Feed family, we just exposed the biggest stories they don't want you connecting, so let's recap the madness. Trump did what they said was impossible, met with Putin in Alaska, then brought Zelensky to the White House within 48 hours. While Biden sent weapons in blank checks, Trump is actually sending negotiations and peace deals. Even MSNBC admits the Ukraine war can't end on establishment terms. 6 wars ended this year under Trump's watch. All solutions. The war machine is panicking because peace doesn't pay their bills. Then we expose how sanctuary state blood runs on America's highways. Harjinder Singh crossed illegally into 2008. And then he crossed a highway illegally and killed 3 people. He was caught by Trump's Border Patrol. California gave him the CDL anyway. And now 3 Americans are dead. Newsom's response, take a break from gerrymandering Republicans out of existence to blame Trump. But Trump caught Singh. California killed those Americans by releasing him with a license to drive an 18-wheeler. The Epstein investigation cracked open with Bill Barr confirming Trump had 0 connections to Jeffrey's crimes, but Mueller, who chased Russian ghosts for years, suddenly can't remember anything about his original Epstein FBI investigation. Whether his health issues are real or convenient, the timing stinks, like the swamp it came from. 2 justice systems, one protects predators, the other prosecutes patriots like Tina Peters, while Jenna Griswold walks free after leaking voting machine passwords. And Disney, oh Disney, after losing hundreds of millions on woke garbage, they desperately are exploiting the 66-year-old Jamie Lee Curtis's sex symbol pass to sell tickets. The same company preaching progressive values is banking on 80s and 90s titties because go woke, go broke. It's not just a slogan, it's now their quarterly earnings report. The Non-Woke Alliance is rising while Disney's empire crumbles under the weight of their own hypocrisy. So to all 2 people who sent in super chats tonight, you are the show. Your voices, your reactions, and your support keeps the truth on the air when big tech and big money want us silence. You proved that we're not just an audience, we are a movement. So tell a friend about the Raw Feed, text them the link, share the stream on every platform. The algorithm can't stop word of mouth. And if you want to wear your support, hit shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Alligator Alcatraz shirts are triggering liberals at grocery stores. President Auto Pen Design start conversations, and American Badass Gear says everything without saying anything. So thank you for making the Raw Feed the fastest growing truth movement in America. Thank you for choosing real news over mainstream lies, and thank you for standing with us when standing up costs something. This is Gary Franchi saying keep fighting, keep sharing, and keep watching. We'll see you the next time on the Raw Feed.